Blake Griffin said Kevin Durant recruited him harder than any other member of the Brooklyn Nets. And KD, well, he knows what it's like to play with some talented teammates. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Ashley Nicole Moss. And Ashley, the question is, has the talent KD's played with, or will it ultimately help or hurt how he's viewed? Now, look, I was as critical as anyone when he went to Golden State because it was inevitable that they were going to win. Nevertheless, he did get those rings, so he doesn't have to chase a ring in order to validate that aspect of his career. And in Brooklyn, maybe he'll never be the guy who is the sole reason they win a championship. But the credit I'll give him is he's changed the way that that franchise is viewed. And I think he's the person most responsible for that. People want to play with him. And now, along with the Lakers, Brooklyn is the destination place in the NBA.
Yeah, I think it depends on who you ask. People who like the old school way of basketball, of people just kind of earning those championships. Maybe they had a Robin to their Batman. But I think now the way the NBA is orchestrated is the super teams, if you will, all these superstars teaming up is just the way the league is. And yes, a lot of people were rubbed the wrong way about the Golden State era. And maybe that first ring, a lot of people won't credit it. But here's the thing, a ring is a ring, and he has two of them. So on top of that, that second ring that they won in Golden State, that did not happen without Kevin Durant. And if we're going to compare it to another player in the league, LeBron James is known for stacking teams as well. He's doing it with the Lakers. He did it in Miami. Cleveland, he won that infamous ring that a lot of people, have arguments about to this day. But here's the thing, this is just what the league is like. So whether or not you want to say he chased the rings, he earned the rings, he has them. And that's the conversation at the end of the day, is he is a champion. He is a world champion. And that's all that matters.
Well, look, and you look at Kevin Durant. Here's the other thing about him. He's such a brilliant basketball player. Anyone who's questioning that is out of their minds. Same thing goes for LeBron. In LeBron's case, he has taken lesser teams to the finals. We've seen that. And the secret is that every dynastic level team in the history of the NBA has been a stacked team. I mean, even back in the 60s, the Celtics had all the talent consolidated on one team. The Lakers, Kareem at the end of his career, Magic and Worthy. The Celtics had Bird, McHale, and Parrish. You go into the 90s, and the Bulls had Pippen and eventually Rodman. There was Shaq and Kobe before LeBron and the Heat, and before KD and the Warriors now. So it's not as if that was something that started with LeBron or started with KD.
Yeah, they didn't recreate the wheel, if you will. And super teams aren't really super teams until they show you that they're a super team. Yes, on paper, you can have all these all-stars, but if they don't produce rings, they're not really a super team. They're just a really good team that played together, but it didn't manifest into anything. So if you look at teams throughout NBA history, they're only super teams because you see what they have accomplished. So I don't think KD or LeBron should get the backlash that they do for doing the same thing that's been done by players before them, the blueprint that's kind of existed. Yes, the players now are probably more athletic, more talented than the players of the past, depending on who you ask. But that's just because that is the way that the league looks now. The guys are just more athletic, and that's across the board in all sports. But again, they're not creating something that didn't exist. They're just taking the blueprint and they're doing it better. So you can't hate the player, you got to hate the game.
And none of those teams are super teams without one of those superstars on them. Again, I would state what LeBron had done with lesser teams. I've argued he's been the most valuable player maybe in sports history, but KD as well. I mean, you cannot question the guy's ability out on the court. And ultimately, if the accolades are there and what we all see is there, all the rest is ultimately just going to be noise in the air.